Good evening, everyone. Welcome to COS Indiana Live. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I forgot something and had to rush away to pick it up, and got back and kind of got a little bitty late start on the broadcast this evening. But I think we're back on track. Let me bring up my co-host. I want to get up here and get back to where I need to be here. And let me bring up the co-host, Mr. Ken Kashuba. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Dale. How are you?
Well, I was a little rushed there.
A little rushed tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'll blame it on you, but that's okay.
All right. You made it.
I made it. Yep. Well, Ken, we got a good. I think we got a good broadcast tonight. We got our state grassroots coordinator, Dale Tipton, coming on here very shortly, and Dale's going to explain to us a new program that we got that we've just implemented. But anyway, we'll get to that very shortly here.
Okay.
Just so everyone knows, Ken is one of Ken's duties this evening as co-host is to monitor our viewer comments and questions. And so if we get a comment or a question that he thinks we need to address, he'll give us a little high sign, and we'll go over to him. So Ken, I on our last broadcast last Monday, I think we set a record on comments and questions, didn't we?
I believe so, Dale. There was quite a few in the section. I didn't count them up. I think you said that there were quite a few there. So
yeah. I think it was a record. So that's all great. That's all great. We love to see names that we don't recognize. So that means new people are coming on and watching us. So that's good.
Yep.
Keep it coming, folks. Keep it coming.
Good sign.
Well, Ken, we always keep track of the numbers here, and this is broadcast number 185, and you've been along for number 51.
51. Yep. Broke that plane. Mm-hmm.
It is the numbers are mounting up, aren't they?
Yeah, that's good to see too.
Yep, that's good to see too. Yes. Well, I just want to remind everyone that our national website, conventionofstates.com, that's the first place you go to if you want to join Convention of States here in Indiana. Go to conventionofstates.com. Provide your information and become a supporter here in Indiana for Convention of States. Might also mention, as you know, we Ken and I come on just like we are right now. We come on every Monday evening to do COS Indiana Live. Well, on every fourth Monday of the month, we devote the broadcast format to a roundtable discussion. And for February, our roundtable is coming up on February 27th. That's only a couple weeks away. So we got to get together, and we still don't have a topic as yet for that roundtable, but the roundtable will be a panel discussion amongst the executive group here in Convention of States here in Indiana. And I have found these have been very good, Ken. I think our viewer response has been very good. Wouldn't you agree to the roundtable format?
I think people like the roundtable format. It allows 3 or 4 different opinions, or people that are interjecting with the topic of the night. And I think it's we've had obviously lots of good topics. So I think when you combine those, you have people that enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, we get ourselves in trouble with a topic, but that makes it more
kind of easy to do today, though, isn't it, Dale? It's kind of easy to do.
It is. Mm-hmm. Very easy to do. So who knows what we'll be talking about this time? So hopefully we won't get ourselves into trouble. But anyway, also want to mention that we are now offering 2 podcasts. One of the podcasts is, in fact, the audio portion of the roundtable broadcast, which our next roundtable I just mentioned is coming up on February 27th. So we'll just take the audio portion of that broadcast and offer it up as a podcast. Now, the other podcast is what we call COS Indiana Live Voices. And this has really been a pleasure doing, Ken. I think you would agree. Ken and I have the opportunity every Monday evening on this broadcast. We have the opportunity to talk to special guests and people here in Indiana that are part of the COS family for the most part, and we get to learn a little bit about what they're doing. Our guest this evening, Dale Tipton, is another good example. But on the podcast, we select some of the more dynamic ones, and we spend about an hour with them to learn more about them and what they do and why. And Ken, I think you would agree, we've learned a lot of things about some of these people that we didn't know. We thought we knew them pretty well, but we learned some things about them, didn't we?
Yeah, when you get to spend an hour with somebody, I think it gives you the opportunity to dive into some of the things that you don't normally get a chance to do over these Zoom calls, or even at some of our meetings where we meet face to face. You don't always get that time. So yeah. Hey, by the way, I wanted to throw this up. Susan Lyon happened to throw this comment up and mention that if we are in trouble, we are flying over the target. So I think I've heard that a few times, and it's good to know I've heard that. Yeah. So
that's very good. She's right. Yes.
So yeah, we might have to come up with maybe we can come up with a COS balloon, Dale. I don't
know. Okay, here you go. Getting us down that path.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that behind. We'll go back on to what you're about ready to do there.
Well, I want to say one more thing about this podcast, COS Indiana Live Voices. We've done 5 of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, we are now planning to do number 6. And I'll go ahead and tell everyone.
Might as well. Little teaser, Dale.
This number 6, our guest is going to be, in fact, Dale Tipton, our guest tonight on our broadcast. So
people that are watching tonight, when they get just a little glimpse of Dale, they're going to want to get the podcast and tune in.
That's right. Yeah. And as a matter of fact,
people want to know.
We just scheduled that interview for later this week, so we'll get that recorded and get that set up and available. We'll be talking more about the podcast a little bit later, but yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that. Okay, Ken, I want to mention again the Surge Day we have coming up on March 8th. And for those of you that are not familiar with the terminology here, Surge Day is a day where we gather at the state capitol in Indianapolis, and we actually conduct a rally. Basically, it's a rally. We have an information table there. We have all sorts of information available to hand out to people. We talk to people. We try to meet with our legislators, either they're at our table or we meet with them in their private offices. And it's all about convention of states. So, right, Ken, it's a pretty big day for us, really.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to mix and mingle down at the State House, and when you get if you get the opportunity to actually go ahead and have a chat with your legislator, either it is a good time. It's something that I think everybody should experience in self-governance and being part of your state legislation. So
that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, we got a little video that we're going to show about the upcoming Surge Day. But this is very important, folks. Again, this is on March 8th. That's a Wednesday. And we'll be there basically from about 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, what is this, Marty?
This was just a little extra information on Marty. Marty Wood is our legislative liaison, and he's mentioning that we will be meeting on the second floor of the State House at the North Atrium.
Good. Yeah. Good information. Good. Okay, so we'll be there from about 9 a.m. to 3, somewhere in that time range. So we want to get as many people there as possible. So please, folks, come on down and spend the day with us, or spend part of the day if you can. So big day for us. So you'll be hearing more and more about this as time goes on. All right, Ken. Our theme this year, as well as it was last year, is basically what activism can I take in Convention of States? And if you recall, when we first came up with this theme, we thought this would be good for maybe a month or so. Well, we're now in our second year with it, so it seems to be a good theme, and I think we'll stick with it as long as it makes sense. But it's what activism can I take in Convention of States? And
covers a big area, and I think that video will show it too. People engaging in that. So yeah.
Yep. And so tonight we're going to let's just talk a little bit in general about what we're going to be doing tonight. Our first segment is we're going to bring our guest on, Dale Tipton. Dale is our state Grassroots Coordinator, and we're going to be talking about a new program that we're offering that we've actually kicked off on. I think the first segment of the program started January 29th on a Sunday. So it's called the Indiana Step Up program, and so we'll bring Dale on, and he'll.
Now, were you going to show that video, Dale, or are you going to do that later?
I was going to do that later.
Okay.
Well, on the Surge Day.
Yeah.
I was going to do that later.
All right. Didn't mean to get ahead of you, but go ahead and bring on Dale there.
Okay. Well, we will bring him on very shortly here. But he'll tell us about this new program that we've implemented.
Step Up.
Now, how about you talk us the second segment?
Raise your voice.
Will be about raise your voice and about our viewer polling. You want to talk about that?
I can do that, and while I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and share the screen so people can get their smartphones out and ready to get hooked into the site. As you can see, there is the Slido QR code. So if you got your smartphone and just snap a shot of that, it will take you into the slido.com area, and you'll be all ready to roll when we hit our presentation tonight on Slido. And if you're on a tablet or a computer, desktop, slido.com will get you to the website. And the number is 3774-607 will line you up with tonight's polling questions. So that's the QR code. It will be available at the same time when we bring up the program later. So if you happen to miss it now, don't fret. You can get on it a little later on when we bring in the Raise Your Voice segment of it. So that is all about our Raise Your Voice tonight.
All right. Good deal. Well, let's get started here. As we said, Convention of States and Activism, and that's what we're all about here in Indiana. So let's, without further ado, Ken, let's bring up Dale. You're going to have two Dales to deal with tonight, Ken. So
going to be really confusing. Yeah, I'm going to need that pay raise.
Hello, Dale.
Hello, Dale and Ken.
Hello, Dale and Dale.
Just remember, I'm the good-looking Dale, and
you're the good-looking Dale. Yeah, okay.
All right.
We'll have to add that to the back of your SGC there, the good-looking one. Yeah.
There you go.
You can't differentiate us based on hair, can you?
Only on one side of your face, I think.
Well, yeah, he's the one with the hair on his face, isn't he?
Yeah, there you go.
I guess we could, right? Well, Dale, we've implemented this new program called the Indiana Step Up Program. Let's kind of step back a little bit and let's talk about how and why we created this program. And for lack of a better term, we selected affirmative action. You want to kind of give us a little background as to how we came about to do this?
Well, I think many of us that follow politics and things that are going on in the country have realized that for some time, things don't seem to be going like they should go. And there's a lot of mistrust in government, and there's excessive spending, and there's just a lot of things happening that we feel goes counter to the Constitution as our founders have written it. And so within Convention of States, obviously we're seeking, answers, to these questions through amendments that can be called at a state convention, which, we're in the process of trying to organize, requiring 34 states. We're at 19. And so we're out there trying to spread the word, but it's the type of thing where those of us that are involved in this on a daily or weekly basis are very attuned to what's happening, but many other people are not. And so with this program, what we're trying to do is give the average citizen the opportunity to do something proactively. And so in your case, your affirmative action, instead of being a requirement to enter college or something like that, we're just talking about that you're taking an affirmative step to do something. Many of us, we're really good talkers, and we watch the TV and the news, and we make comments to our wives or family members about what things are going on and what we don't like about it and stuff, and we grumble and things, and oftentimes that's where it ends. Unfortunately, the talk amongst ourselves does very little to solve the problems, and so we have learned that it takes affirmative action or concrete steps to be able to bring about change, which is what we're trying to do.
Okay. That is correct. That's good. That's a good lead into what we're trying to accomplish here. Now, we got to be honest about the challenges that we face here. All the things that you said are so true. But the challenge, one of the basic challenges that we've been facing is finding people willing to take that step and willing to get involved. Am I right?
Well, that's true. And I mean, the problem I think is awareness. I mean, for a long, long time, we've been kind of conditioned to just think, well, we elect people to serve in these different offices at the local, state, and federal level. And you assume that whenever they go off to work, that they're doing their very best to represent you as an individual person that voted for them. Unfortunately, this may not be the case, especially when we're talking about national politics. So the average person, I think, until something comes about that they can physically feel in their lives, for example, gas prices. You know, you go to the gas pumps and you go, okay, all of a sudden the price of gas is going up there and the money in my wallet doesn't go as far as it used to go. That might make you stop and think a little bit. Or whenever you go to the grocery store and you buy those $4 or $5 carton for a dozen eggs that, you know, is being charged, you know, you start to think, well, you know, why is that? And who's at fault for that? But I think many people live their lives. They're raising their children. They're working. They're involved with family and their communities, or maybe, you know, their kids are in 3 or 4 different sports or music programs, and they just, you know, they're just busy living life. And so this type of thing that we're talking about, dealing with the politics of the United States, they're really unaware of. Many people don't watch the news, and if they do watch the news, it often comes from places that don't really talk about the problems that we see now. Many of the mainstream news media outlets really focus on the positive things that the administration is doing and not the things that are harmful to us. And so our key challenge is to try to raise awareness that, first of all, our country's in trouble, number one. And then number two is that as a citizen of this country, each of us is responsible to help solve this problem. And we're not used to being actively involved. And so there's a whole sea change that has to take place as far as the way we think about things to make this happen. And so this process that we're involved in here and in this Step Up program opens a doorway to you as an individual being able to make an actual change, or to assist in making a change that is for the benefit of the country. And it takes all of us to get involved.
Yep. And we each have particular talents, particular interests, particular tendencies. So it's not a matter of what we're trying to do here. And I think hopefully people will see as we show the program, we're trying to offer some different avenues that people could choose to get involved based on those interests and based on those tendencies that they have. So it's not a program where you come in, you got to do this one thing and one thing only to get first involved. So we're trying to take some steps here to find out what the person is really interested in, and then we'll direct them into some opportunities in those based on those interests and those desires. So
absolutely right.
That's what we're trying to do here. So let's talk about them. We call it the Indiana Step Up program, trying to get people to basically step up and get involved here. So I'm going to bring up the page that people will first see. And guys, I'm going to use the whole screen here. So folks, you won't see us off to the side here, but we're still here and you'll hear us. Okay. So I'm just trying to make this a little more visible to everyone. Okay. But this is the first thing. Well, Dale, I'm going to let you explain this because this is there's a series of documents here. So I'll let you start here, Dale.
Well, this is I guess what we could call a landing page, and it kind of, I think if I can read this, it kind of, the first paragraph kind of sets the tone for it, which says, imagine stepping forward during a critical time in American history to preserve the freedoms and liberty that have blessed you and that define the American experience. You can make a difference. And so I think it's just about, we want people to realize what they have and the blessings that have been given by the United States Constitution, the fact that they were born or moved into this country to, to realize those freedoms. And we have some thoughts in there that come from, some of our leaders. There's one from Thomas Jefferson. Let me read that one that says, a quote from him: "We in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate. All tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent."
Boy, is
And
that
so,
true or not? That is so true, isn't it?
I mean, that's kind of the battle that we're facing, because it's been our nature to be silent. Um, you used to think of people who were activists as the people who were out demonstrating at these different places and maybe being a little rowdy and all of that kind of thing, that is always broadcast on the news. But activism really isn't just limited to that. Activism is simply getting involved in a cause that you believe in and trying to do concrete things to make a difference. And so that's kind of what we're doing.
Okay.
My contact information is available on the front page and each of the following pages. And so the key thing that we have here that we get into is, well, as it says in the paragraph, the time is now, and if not you, then who? And so to review opportunities to participate in self-governance, please follow this link, which is the Step Up, as in the name that you talked about.
And I want to reiterate here before we go to the next page that all through this whole document, Dale's contact information is available. So anytime the person doing this wants to talk to a human, we've designated Dale as that human. So he can be contacted for anyone that would prefer to discuss this all with a human. So
Yeah.
So
And
let's say
I'd point out that this feature is unique, because if you think of websites or things that you've interacted with in the past, generally an email is about all that you can hope for. Very
right,
seldom do you see a phone number that you can access somebody directly.
right.
All right, excellent.
Okay, so I want to know more about this. So I click on Step Up,
That's correct.
and now we come to another page.
Yeah. So, here we're trying to show that we have a different menu really for different people, depending upon the kind of personality that you have. There are people who want to be leaders, who want to be at the front of the room, making statements about things and organizing activities and all of those things that you would assume that leaders do. Underneath that, we have, just volunteering. Maybe you feel like you're a little bit more of a support person and you want to work and you want to do something to contribute, but you don't want to be the guy that organizes it. You don't want to be the person at the front of the room. You just want somebody to give you a task, that can be helpful, and then you can do that. And then lastly, under community opportunities, that gets into some things, and we'll hit these in general, but that encourages people to just actively be involved in their communities. There's so many avenues there that can be helpful that people often don't think about because they just assume somebody else is handling it. And we need involvement everywhere.
Okay.
So if you want to go to the leadership opportunities and click on that one,
Yeah, no, we won't be able to go through each of these, but I mean, due to time. But anyway, let's say I'm interested in maybe taking on some sort of a leadership opportunity. So I click on leadership.
Yeah, there's a picture of that handsome man again. Yeah.
There's a handsome guy there. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
kind of looks familiar, doesn't he? Okay.
So here we get into a description of a few of the basic roles that we're looking for. Indiana, for example, is divided into 100 House districts, and we're trying to recruit district captains in each one of those House districts. And a district captain's job would be, number one, to be a liaison with their elected leaders, their state senator and representative. And then number two, to do things within that district that would help spread the word about Convention of States and what we're trying to do. And so this one carries some significant responsibility with it, but yet it can also be very rewarding because you're so directly involved.
Yeah, very important leadership position in the Convention of States. Yes,
I would also say, Dale, that amongst those obvious leadership positions there are some things that would be considered leadership, but in a little bit more of a behind the scenes role. And those are things like our content writers. If you're a good writer and you like to draw up like a letter to the editor or opinion style writing, we can use those in our newsletter. And our social media warriors is another area where people that may not consider themselves to be an author, but feel that they have a connection with their social media people.
You're getting ahead of it. Getting ahead of us, Ken.
We got those coming.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting ahead of us a little bit.
Okay, I didn't want to get too far ahead, but I thought in a leadership role you could show that there's some leaders, but that are just not quite as visible.
And there are other leadership roles that we're not reflecting here due to space
time. Yeah, I hear
you. But a state events coordinator, that's something we really need to find someone to take on that role. We've got some regional event coordinators, but we need a state coordinator. Very, very important role. But like I said, like Dale says, there are other leadership roles. These are just a few that we've put out here. Anything else further, Dale, on this area?
No, I think that's good. That gives people a good feel for what type of leadership positions are available.
Okay. So let's say, well, I'm not interested in leadership, but I want to look a little bit more into the volunteer opportunities. So let's look at what that entails here. So there, Ken, there's your social media warrior.
I was one tab ahead of you. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, you were. Yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah, those social media warriors. Obviously, people are connected to their phones all day, and some people, without being abusive in any way, it's more of an educational role whereby you're introducing people to a solution to what most people are looking for. And and that can be done in a very non-abusive way, just not obtrusive way, I guess. And so we're always looking for people that are well received on social media, or as I said previously, if you're a good writer and you'd like to do that, we have room for you there too.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the number, but how many social media platforms are we involved in here in Indiana?
Dale, you got that at the top of your head? I think it's about 7 or 9 of them, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe up to we just added another one. Yeah, it could be up to 8 now. 8
different platforms.
And we want to do more, but
and so this is all about spreading the Convention of States message on all of these social media platforms, because the reach is so wide. And although we're recruiting for people in Indiana, these things apply to any state wherever they may be. These same types of positions. This is how the national organization is organized, and so you could live in any state and still take advantage of any of these opportunities.
Right.
That's a good point.
Okay, well, let's say I'm not. Maybe I want to look at the community opportunities. Let's take a look here and see what that involves.
you think about your local community, and oftentimes you don't realize about all the things that happen that make your local government, work. Um, library boards. I mean, you think, well, why would anybody be interested in going to a meeting on libraries? And libraries contain all kinds of books. There's all kinds of, well, if you want to look at the press, some of the things that have been happening in libraries as far as readings for children that we may not consider appropriate, with some of the, the trans things going on, and the special exhibits for kids that try to introduce them to cultures that the parents may not, seem fit to. There's no real way of knowing about some of those things unless you're part of this. School boards is another way that people can just go and attend and listen. Find out what their school board is discussing, find out some things about content, ask questions. A lot of times there's things that the individual citizens can bring up that aren't on the agenda that will be equally as important. Same things for city and town hall meetings, county commissioners, the way money is spent, the key decisions that are made. Are decisions being made that really fit with your values as a family, or are they not? And if they're not, you're in a position then to open up your mouth and to speak up, and which is going to be a stretch for some people, but it's going to be necessary for what we need to do. We have a block walking program that's happening nationally, where we just get a few of us together and we just go out and hit a neighborhood and just knock on doors and leave information, talk about Article 5 and what it can do for us, what Convention of States is if people have never heard about it. Tell a Patriot is a mission. It's a thing that we do through an app on our phones that allows us to make calls into other states. For example, if a given state is having hearings on the Convention of States resolution, and we want to raise attention to that, we can call and we can make those people aware. People from Indiana can call into any other state on one of these missions to help get the word out there and bring people out to the meetings, and so that they're there for the discussions and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so there's a world of opportunities, and whether you feel like you're a shy person, or whether you're a go-getter that likes to meet people within these three different categories of leadership, volunteering, and in the community, there's a place for you. And that's the people that we're trying to bring in.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, and once again, if the person would like to talk to a human, you're listed there as the contact person, Dale.
Yep. It is my pleasure to be your designated human.
All right. Well, I think that pretty well covers the program, Dale, as we've set it forth. This page and this document is available on the national website, conventionofstates.com. It's going to be available through our newsletter. We're going to be putting this out through various social media platforms that we're involved in. So it's we're sending it out also, Dale, by text message and email blast. So
right, and it's the type of thing where you can copy the link and throw it in an email to friend or family, and it's easy for people to get involved that way.
Right. Okay, well, I think that's a wrap on it then, Dale. We've kind of gone over time here, so I think again, this comes back to self-governance and getting people involved, and offering up opportunities for people through Convention of States to get involved and express their activism. So any other closing words on this then, Dale, from your part?
No, I mean, I would just encourage everybody to consider what's going on in the country and what's going on with decisions that are being made in their community, and really, think about paying attention and getting involved, because the problems that we do face will never be solved due to inaction. It will only be solved due to affirmative action.
There you go. All right, Dale, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
And everyone, look for the COS Indiana Live Voices podcast coming up. we're gonna talk much further with Dale on our next installment of Voices. So again, thanks a lot, Dale. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
both.
Dale. Yep. Good night.
All right, Ken. Ken, I want to play this video. It's a very short video about our upcoming Surge Day. So
Okay.
let me get this going here, okay?
Yep.
All right. Did you hear that? Did the audio come through okay on that?
I heard it fine, Dale. I think it came across. Yep.
All right.
Yep. So,
Good.
yep.
All
Just
right,
remind people
Ken.
it is March 8th. And I know
March 8th.
that showed very briefly on that video. So I just wanted to reinforce that it's March 8th.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Ken, let's get into raise your voice, and let's get Maringo Mike to get us started here.
Sounds like a good thing to do.
That features you. Scan the code and join the fun. It's your turn to be heard.
Okay, well, there's Marengo reminding us that it is time to be heard. Your turn, your time to be heard. So we're going to go ahead and share the screen here and get ourselves over to tonight's Slido presentation. And we're going to go ahead and share that right now. So you should be seeing. And we've got a question here, Dale. Where can we see a statewide calendar of events for COS Indiana? That can be found in a number of places. It's available on our state webpage. It is also available if you are, now this was given by somebody anonymous, so I'm not sure whether they are already part of COS, but if you're part of COS, it can be found in our Slack channels. And if you're not a part of it, there is a public link to it. Again, as I said, that can be found on the state page. I believe it's also available on the Facebook page. I'll have to double check.
It's also available on our newsletter, right?
And on the newsletter, yes, you can get the statewide calendar on the newsletter. So if you want to get that newsletter too, you can always send us you can always send an email to us at our email address, and we'll get you your email address so we can add it to the newsletter, so you can actually get the newsletter as well. So that is
we'll be showing that email address very soon here.
Coming up soon here.
I don't
so
want to interrupt this.
That's to answer that one question. We'll go ahead and get the other questions started here tonight. And that is the very first one. What do you feel COS Indiana, as a past state, what do you think that we at COS Indiana should be focusing on as progress towards the convention continues? So there's a wide range of things that we're trying to do, but is there something that you feel, again, this is basically just a text reply. So you can basically type in what you think we should be focusing on. A number of things, as I said, it's growing our grassroots army. Is it connecting further with our legislators? There's just so many different things that we can do. Do you think we should be spending more time statewide on what we're doing here in our legislation? So there's so much out there. We just kind of trying to get a feel tonight of what the viewers think we should be focusing on as we move forward. So spreading the word about Article 5 and COS is one that comes up. So we've talked about some of the ways to spread the word tonight through social media and other events that we hold. And again, that goes back to finding a good event coordinator statewide so that we can get that word out. helping get surrounding states to pass resolution. And there's a few others there, Dale. Building relationships with potential delegates to the convention. Telepatria activities. So again, spread the word to increase membership at home. So a number of good suggestions already coming up there. We've got a few more typing. So we'll give this another, got one more typing. We'll give this another second to see if we've got another comment coming up.
Okay.
But that gives us an idea, I think, and, you know, things that we can include in our future broadcasts, roundtables, those type of things.
Yeah.
And that's another way, you know, if you like these, if you're viewing this for the first time, or maybe you've seen them on Facebook or on YouTube, share the link to our broadcasts and invite people to our Monday night broadcasts. I'd like to see that go. And we got one more here that's popped up. I am most concerned about the education of our children. So this person would like to see legislation eliminating CRT, transgender ideologies. Again, those are some things that are coming up in some of the House bills that we're looking to represent or get behind us at COS. So join us on Surge Day. It's a good time to bring that up.
Yes,
good time to bring that up.
I might just reiterate on something you mentioned there, Ken. That
sure.
You know, the responses we get on these questions in this viewer polling segment, these responses contribute to the topics that we choose for the roundtable discussion. So your responses are very important to us here.
Yep. We'll move on to number 2. So this one's going to be a little pie chart. When it comes to COS Indiana live broadcasts, we want to know, which do you prefer to connect with? Is it the live broadcast like we're doing tonight? We also record these broadcasts and post them at a date shortly after we do these live, and then we have our podcast, and then we've got some there. You may be accessing more than one. So right now it's 100% on the live broadcast, Dale. Although here we go.
Oh, there we're going now.
Getting access on more than one. So we've got people that are listening to it 2 ways. I know that's a popular way. Some people, if you don't get a chance to hear it live, you tune in on the recorded segments, and then again, you know, some people, if they're available at the time of the live broadcast, you jump on that first, and if you miss it, you get it on the recorded version. So looks like the recorded broadcasts obviously are about 11%, and people that access it in more than one ways. So it looks like we need to do some work on getting our podcasts out there, Dale.
Yeah. Well, that's a new thing that we're offering. So
it is rather new, and I will mention it. That's basically gonna you know, at this point that we had a quiz last week on the podcast, and I following it up this week, Dale, with another quiz on our podcast. So people are either going to be guessing tonight or they're going to know the answer. So we'll move on to number 3. But another reason to tune into the podcast is to be able to answer our quizzes. And you know, Dale mentioned one of these days he's gonna give out some prizes for this. So we'll hold him on that. But now's the time to join the quiz. You can just put your name in that you would like to join the quiz, and even if you're just guessing tonight. But it will be about the podcast. So if you've listened to any of our podcasts, you may be the overall leader tonight on the leaderboard. So we've got several people that are joining in. I think we have 2, 4, 5 people. So we'll go ahead and put the quiz up here. There's no timer on this one. So if you're still looking to join in on it, go ahead. We'll get the quiz started and see how this works for you. So which podcast interviews featured people that displayed self-governance by testifying in front of the legislators? So we've had a number of people that actually have gone down to the State House and testified in front of the House on certain topics and certain areas that are of concern for the people. So we've had a few. I'll put it that way. We've had a few. So out of these people, these are all people that have been involved in our podcast so far, and a couple of them have actually done that in their role of being self-governed. So take your best guess if you haven't listened to them yet, but if you do know the answer, go ahead and jump on there. Let us know what you think. Is it Susan Lyon? Is it Rick Lyon? Is it Marty Wood? Is it Gary Harbaugh? Or is it Dan Stock? Well, those are all people that we've interviewed on our podcasts, and they've been involved in obviously more than one way with COS. And that's an important. It's an interesting experience. I know that when we've talked to these people about doing that, it's an interesting experience to get up in front of the house and just let them know how you feel. We the people. Yeah. So we're not getting right now. I think I have to give it some time a little bit before I show answers. So we're going to give it just another few seconds here, and then we'll go ahead and reveal what people are thinking. Who was it? Susan Lyon, Rick Lyon, Marty Wood, Gary Harbaugh, or Dan Stock? Whoa. So we have a whopping percentage there on Dan Stockdale.
Yeah.
And he was definitely one that testified.
Actually, I think there's two of them here that have done this.
Yes. And you were able, this quiz allowed you to answer more than one. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So you want to go ahead and unveil the other one?
Well, I think certainly Dan Stock has, but Marty Wood has, our legislative liaison, has testified. I think a number of times actually.
Yeah,
So,
Marty was the other one. You've kind of hit the two of them. Yeah, Dan and Marty. So quite a good percentage on those two people, though. So people either made a good guess or they were just holding back on whether they listen to the podcast or not. So
yeah.
So that's it for it tonight, Dale.
All right. Good job. Good job. It's always a popular segment of our broadcast every Monday night. So very, very good.
Like to get the viewers involved.
Let me put up this email address before I forget it here.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned if anyone has a question or a comment after the broadcast is over, and you want to relay that to us, email us at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. That's raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. And Ken and I look at the responses or those emails every day. So please feel free to email us if you have a comment or question. And Ken, I'll try and remember. Don't let me forget. I'll try and put that up again before we sign off tonight to give everybody another chance to make note of that. Let's talk about the podcast one more time. Like we said, we have two podcasts. One's the audio version or the audio segment of the roundtable broadcast, and then of course the COS Indiana Live Voices podcast, and those can be found on Spotify.com. And I think, Ken, you're saying they can be found on some other sources as well, right?
Yeah, I actually did some extra searching this week, and Google Podcast is another one you can find them on. And if you are a Stitcher subscriber, you can find it through Stitcher. So that's another podcast platform you can get a hold of.
Okay, we probably ought to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Stitcher. It's STITCHER. Stitcher.
Okay, you'll have to help me. We'll modify this banner so that we can start reflecting all those.
Should have given you a heads up on that, but I did find it. I did find it there this week. So.
Okay. All right. Good.
So,
good.
Yeah. Now we have somebody mentioning something here, Dale. We're going to go ahead and bring this up because I think it's helpful for other people. We've got Thomas Tedlock out there says, I'd like to get off the couch, but not on social media. So I think we've presented a number of different ways, Thomas, that you can get off the couch and join us. And it doesn't have to be on social media. I know some people are swearing off of social media, so to speak, but there's a number of ways that you can be active and get off the couch and help. And I think we covered a lot of those tonight, but there's even more that we didn't have time to get into.
Right. And I would encourage Thomas to go to the Step Up and Document and do some exploring, or call Dale Tipton and talk to him about it. But we designed it. We designed that program specifically for individuals that have a preference or an interest in how they would like to get involved and how they would like to get off the couch and get involved. Again, not everyone. A lot of people don't like engaging in social media, so that's fine. We've got some other opportunities for you, and there's different ways of getting off the couch and getting involved. The important thing is to do it.
Get up and get off the couch. Yeah.
Get involved.
Yep.
That's right.
And one of our SIA, Jerry Rowe, has said wanted to add this comment about how to find different podcasts, and he says he uses an app on Linux called Rhythm Box, and it can download and play any podcast. So I guess all you really need to do is search the name, COS Indiana Voices or Roundtable, and it would locate it, and you can download it there. So just another way of finding it. And if you're a Linux user, I don't know. I'm not particularly a Linux user, but if there's people out there that are using Linux, there's another way to research it. So thanks, Jerry.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, Ken, I think that is a wrap for this evening. And I thought the way we were headed, I thought we were going to go over time, over our target time, but it looks like we're actually going to be finishing a few minutes early. So,
well, that's okay.
Yep. I just want to reiterate one more time our Surge Day coming up on March 8th. We really want to make a good impression down at the state capitol on that day. And we'd like to get as many people down there as possible. We'll have buttons and pins for you, and a lot of information handouts that you can use to give to people. And it's just also, Ken, a good time just to meet and see each other in person, and meet and greet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's just a good time to engage and actually meet other people involved in convention and states. So it was a good day last year. We've had some good days, and we want to make this one an even bigger and better one. So that's March 8th. That's a Wednesday coming up in just a few weeks here, Ken.
Yep. Be here before you know it.
Yes, it will. Well, Ken, I think that's a wrap for tonight. And I'll tell you what. Well, we've talked about getting off the couch. That's enough said on that. Let me show our email address one more time. That's right. raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com.
Yep.
So, Ken, I guess that's it for tonight, unless you got another comment or question that we haven't touched on yet.
Well, review the time one more time. This kind of just popped up. Thomas was asking what time. So that basically 9 o'clock to 3, anytime in between.
That's right. Yes. Anytime in between about 9 to 3 works, Thomas. So looking forward to meeting you. Look forward to seeing you there. All right, Ken. Yep. That's a wrap. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back. You know what? I think I forgot to show this. Our next broadcast is going to be next Monday, the 20th. And we have a special guest that night, Micah Beckwith. I haven't met this gentleman, but I understand he's a pastor here in Indiana. Very much a supporter of Convention of States, and has his own podcast, Ken, that we'll be talking about. But and he heads up some other like-minded groups that we're trying to team up with regard to some upcoming legislation. So I think it's going to be a very interesting interview with Pastor Micah Beckwith coming up next Monday evening, the 20th. I don't know
Sounds
how I
good,
messed
yeah.
up putting that up here, but
Well, it's, we were a little bit all across the board tonight, and I do
We
want to
were.
remind people too that there will be more details on all of this in the upcoming newsletter, which should be out very shortly.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right, everyone. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Ken, have a good evening.
Thank you, you too, Dale.
And
Everybody.
we'll see you next Monday, same time, same place. Good
Sounds
night,
good.
everyone.